Hey plant-loving friends, I get a lot of different kinds of feedback in all my avenues of outreach from YouTube to Facebook and my website, and I get a lot of really positive comments from people who have recently adopted a vegan lifestyle or are transitioning to one, saying how much I've helped them and given them good cooking tips and motivation and different reasons to go vegan, and that is awesome. But the comments that I really value and appreciate are the constructive feedback, which I definitely get a lot of, from friends and some people I don't even know. What I get a fair amount is some people saying that I'm a bit too radical and sometimes even offensive, that I'm not sensitive enough, sometimes elitist, and also that I cite sources that are vegan bias. So I want to talk about some of these different points, which are all totally legit, and I want to just make some stuff clear, just so that we're all on the same page and people know where I'm coming from. While I do always want to keep people awake and allow them to think about their food choices, I never in any way would want to make somebody feel bad and give them no avenue to change and make things better. That wouldn't be productive, and that will never be my goal. The intention of my outreach will never change. I want to make the world a more peaceful place, make people healthier, end the suffering of innocent beings, and help solve the environmental crisis while promoting peace to all animals and all matter and all beings on the planet. I started my journey into veganism purely from a personal health perspective, but now it's really fueled by the animals. The main theme of my outreach is to discuss the concept of speciesism, which means that you prioritize and set higher moral standards for your own species over all other non-human species that may be less intelligent but can feel pain and suffer in equal ways. And the idea behind speciesism is that considering we still give moral standards to mentally disabled humans who may have lower intelligence than us, and we do not treat them like farm animals by abusing, raping, enslaving, and murdering them, we do that because we know that they can feel pain and suffer in equal ways to all other humans, even though they have lower intelligence. And considering all the cows, chickens, pigs, and fish on the planet that are enslaved in farms for slaughter or for milk production or egg production, even though they have lower intelligence than us, we all know that they can feel pain and suffer in equal ways to that we can, which justifies that they should be treated in equal ways to the mentally disabled human beings on our planet, with respect, dignity, and a safe place to live out their life. But instead of treating them with respect and dignity, here's how most farm animals are treated in the world today.
For nearly their entire 4-month pregnancies, mother sows are locked in narrow metal stalls barely larger than their own bodies. Many of the animals develop open sores and scratches. Workers often kick, hit, and yell at pigs to move them. Soon after birth, piglets are castrated by workers who cut into their skin and rip out their testicles. Next, the workers chop off their tails. Both of these painful procedures are nearly always done without anesthesia. Piglets who become sick or injured or who are not growing quickly enough are killed. From the moment they hatch, the egg industry subjects chicks to horrors few of us can even imagine. At the hatchery, workers quickly and roughly sort the males from the females. Because male chicks don't lay eggs and do not grow quickly enough to be raised profitably for meat, they are killed within hours after hatching. Male chicks are typically thrown into giant grinding machines while still alive. This practice is deemed standard and acceptable by the egg industry. Another killing method is to drop male chicks into trash bags to be smothered or suffocated. More than 200 million unwanted male chicks are killed on their first day of life each year in the United States. The females have it even worse, destined for a life of prolonged cruelty. To reduce pecking induced by overcrowded living conditions, workers use a hot blade or laser to remove part of the chick's beaks. This mutilation can cause both acute and chronic pain. After debeaking, the birds are moved to cages where they will spend the rest of their lives. Nearly 95% of egg-laying hens spend their lives confined in tiny wire cages like this.
So here's a commercial I have posted in the past that may make people a little uncomfortable. These videos can be hard to watch and are shocking, and I in no way am saying that you are an immoral, violent person for continuing to eat meat, fish, dairy, and eggs. All I'm saying is that we need to start becoming more aware of where our food comes from. I'm casting a really wide net in my activism from people who are food conscious and some people who have probably never thought about where their burger comes from. So I try to put up different sources of outreach that may influence people in different ways. These are painful things to watch, and we should all have more compassion for our non-human animals on this planet. But veganism is also for the humans of the planet.
Just 100 years later, our population exploded to 7 billion humans. This number is rightly given a great deal of attention, but an even more important figure when determining world population is the world's 70 billion farm animals humans raise. The human population drinks 5.2 billion gallons of water every day and eats 21 billion pounds of food. But just the world's 1.5 billion cows alone drink 45 billion gallons of water every day and eat 135 billion pounds of food. This isn't so much a human population issue, it's a human eating animals population issue. Environmental organizations not addressing this is like health organizations trying to stop lung cancer without addressing cigarette smoking. But instead of secondhand smoking, it's secondhand eating, which affects the entire planet.
So my calculations are that without using any gas or oil or fuel ever again from this day forward, that we would still exceed our maximum carbon equivalent greenhouse gas emissions, the 565 gigatons, by the year 2030, without the electricity sector even, or energy sector even factored in the equation, all simply by raising and eating livestock.
And the question of whether being vegan means you need to be rich and spend all your money on food is also a myth. Sure, if you're buying all the superfoods and fresh juices and goji berries and things that are totally unnecessary for vitality and health, it's going to be a lot of money. But here's an example of a raw food cab driver in Las Vegas named Danny Dalton who spends less than $5 on food per day.
53. Danny became a raw vegan in 2002.
Oh, this is my apartment. It's very simple. I'm very poor. I'm just a cab driver in Las Vegas. And the main point to understand here is that I don't have a lot of money. I don't use supplements. I eat nothing but raw fruits, vegetables, and nuts. And if I can get big, if I can afford it, then you can too. What do you eat? Well, basically, whatever I feel like, as long as it's in the plants category, fruits, vegetables, and nuts.
My approach to veganism is in the simple, affordable foods. Rice, beans, some seeds, readily available cheap fruit like bananas and apples, and tender green leafy vegetables. Next, people say that I often cite a lot of vegan bias sources. Here's an example of a fourth-generation cattle rancher who has a little different opinion on raising animals as food after he was involved in it for many years.
My name is Howard Lyman. I'm a fourth-generation farmer, rancher, feedlot operator. I travel around the world about 300 days a year, and I talk to people about the proper amount of animal products to have in their diet as being zero. People look at me and they say, wait a minute. Fourth generation farmer, rancher, feedlot operator talking about not eating animal products. And so 1983, I sold my farm, I paid my debts, and I started working with other farmers not to make the mistakes that I made. I'd rather be caught riding a stolen horse than admitting to somebody I was thinking about becoming a vegetarian. But I figured it out. I became a closet vegetarian. I didn't tell anybody. 1 year, I'm a vegetarian. I lose some weight. My blood pressure goes down slightly. My cholesterol goes down slightly. I thought, wow, if I can do that being the world's worst vegetarian, just think what I could do as a vegan, and I could spell vegan. I became a vegan. I lost 130 pounds. My blood pressure went from sky high to normal. My cholesterol from 300 to 135. The longest ongoing heart study in the world, the Framingham study, has shown that over 40 years, not one person has had a heart attack that had a cholesterol reading below 150. My God, I got the answer. If we took a vegan driving a Hummer, would produce less greenhouse gases than a carnivore riding a bicycle. Isn't it about time? Isn't it about time that we look at what's really important? Look at what's at stake. We're looking at the future of planet Earth for the Homo sapiens, our children and grandchildren, to live on this planet with our addiction to eating meat. Are we going to sit at home worrying about a better job, a bigger house, lakeshore property, or a new Hummer? Or should we look at it and say, we got it. We understand. We're going to go out and take the multinational meat industry, and we're going to go out and we're going to take them to the map, and we're going to end up winning this fight.
And at times, people cite government studies about how animal agriculture is actually far less of an impact on the environment. But I see and hear about time and time again about the corrupt nature of the government in terms of the revolving door of people going from the meat and dairy industry to the pharmaceutical industry and into government.
So feed and cattle are replacing the beautiful heterogeneous Amazon forest. Then I became the lead environmental advisor of the World Bank Group based in Washington, D.C., and I discovered that they also were financing the conversion of the tropical rainforest for cattle and feed. In fact, they financed the biggest soy producer in the world, Maggi, M-A-G-G-I, and the second largest beef exporter in the world, Burton, and the third largest beef exporter in the world, what's her name? Minerva Beef. So this is an ongoing problem.
So after seeing and hearing all these profound arguments and statements, why isn't it more mainstream and why is it taboo to be vegan? I think it's based on our popular culture normalizing the slaughtering, abuse, and eating of innocent beings. So after seeing and hearing all these profound arguments and statements, why isn't it more mainstream and why is it taboo to be vegan? I think it's based on our popular culture normalizing the slaughtering, abuse, and eating of innocent beings. We even try to make fun of the killing and slaughtering of animals.
Then meat glue, and bacon strips, 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 then layer the chicken on top, then the stuffing, and Cornish game head, and meat glue, and quail. Dry rub. Put the 5 birds in. Filled the cavities with bacon stuffing. Then we sewed it shut. It's a very important part is when we get all the air pockets out and we tenderize the pig.
The fact is that pigs are dying from diarrhea. Well, all over the country, all over the United States of America right now, pigs are dying from diarrhea. I mean, I got bacon in front of me, man. That's not appetizing. You're going to eat some in a second. Okay. But it's irresistible. This past weekend, I had an ungodly amount of bacon and pork. I ingested, you need to go to the store and get bacon. Yeah, you do. 30,000 piglets died at one farm. I don't mean to get morbid here. That's a lot of potential bacon that never made it on my plate. That's sad.
Whether we're conscious of it or not, we are 100% of the time inundated with advertising and people talking about the cruelty to animals in a normal human right way, like they are our tools to plunder and destroy and abuse. And because we are all products of this extremely technical and thought-out programming, I do not blame or put down and spite all the people in the world today that eat meat, milk, and eggs, because it is not our fault. We have all been hooked on the most addicting substances on the planet, and it's going to take a lot to get us to step out of the box and realize what is happening. So it is nobody's fault, and I in no way try to threaten anyone and make them feel bad. I'm just trying to spread awareness of what I truly believe through my research, not through dogma, not through a dream, not through beliefs, but purely from what I have learned, that this is the largest environmental and social justice issue for non-human and human animals on the planet. And it also has the simplest solution. It's to eat less meat and animal products and eventually to go vegan so that we can create peace and harmony within our species and all the species of the world. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you like my videos, and have an amazing, wonderful night.